What's up, veterans? If you're struggling with migraine headaches and you feel like the VA underrates or is overlooking your migraine pain, this episode is for you. I'm going to be talking about 5 proven tips that can help increase your VA disability rating for migraines. So grab your notepad because these are not just generic tips. These are real strategies that have worked for veterans just like you. So let's dig into it. Okay. The highest schedular VA disability rating for migraines is veterans 50%, in case you did not know, right? So very important for you to understand that you cannot get above 50% VA disability rating for migraine headaches. Okay. Yes, headaches are a VA disability. They fall under the 38 Code of Federal Regulations. Okay. So very important to understand that. Okay. While the law only specifically lists migraines as a rateable VA disability condition, any type of headache condition can receive a VA rating if veterans, you have symptoms that affect your work, life, and functioning due to your military service or another service connected disability, meaning tinnitus, right? If you have tinnitus, you have ringing in your ears, you could secondary those migraines or those headaches to that tinnitus if there's proof, if you have a nexus, if you can prove establishment between the tinnitus and the headaches. And I'm just giving you an example, okay? It could be PTSD and you can secondary the headaches, right? Due to maybe, the medication, a symptom of it, right? You're getting headaches, etc. And maybe pain can cause headaches as well too, right? So the International Headache Society and the Mayo Clinic have identified more than 150 different types of headaches, which are divided into 3 categories of veterans: primary, secondary, and other. Okay. So look at it like this. You've got headaches. Okay. Then you've got primary, right? Headaches. You've got like tension, you've got migraines, or you may get cluster headaches, right? Very important. Tension headaches are pretty much the most common headaches, right? They may transform from episodic to chronic type of headaches, if you will. Okay. Migraines are less common, and cluster headaches are less common than tension headaches, but are more, let's call it, debilitating, with days lost from work and reduced quality of life occupationally and socially and relationally. And they may transform from episodic to chronic. Okay. Secondary. Okay. Let's talk secondary here. As I said, tinnitus or PTSD or chronic pain, secondary could be done to medication overuse. Okay. That occurs when pain medications are used basically on a frequent basis or a regular basis to treat acute headaches. Okay. Traumatic brain injuries. Okay. If your headaches are TBI related, usually usually they're acute but can become chronic, maybe for months, and lead to ultimately a significant disability, right? Secondary to that TBI. Another secondary thing could be other infections, tumor, vascular, right? Metabolic disorders, etc. Right? Those are are diagnosed, needed to clarify diagnosis and establish basically a treatment plan. Okay. So you can do things secondary as well. So, for example, tension headaches are the most common type of headache among adults and the most common type of headache in veterans as well. And again, they cause mild to moderate pain and come and go over time. They usually have no other symptoms, veterans. Okay. Migraine headaches are often described as pounding, throbbing pain. They can last from 4 hours to 3 days and usually happen 1 to 4 times a month. What happens though is, along with the pain, people may have other symptoms. Maybe you have sensitivity to light, veterans. Maybe you have sensitivity to noise. You can't be around loud crowds. Or maybe you even have sensitivity to smells. Maybe you didn't think about that. Maybe you have nausea or vomiting. Maybe you have a loss of appetite. Maybe you have an upset stomach or belly pain. I don't know. But post-traumatic headaches are very real. For example, they're very common among veterans. Specifically, veterans, this may be you if you're listening, if you suffer from any type of head injury or trauma during your military service. So I go back to what I was just previously saying. traumatic brain injury. Okay. If you suffered any type of head injury or trauma during service, you could have post traumatic headaches. Furthermore, to elaborate on post traumatic headaches, particularly migraine headaches, they are commonly found in veterans who have deployed in support of combat operations in Iraq and Afghanistan. Okay. OIF, OEF vets. According to medical research as well, if you get a new headache within 7 to 10 days of your head injury or after your conscience again from the trauma, you may have a condition known as a post traumatic headache. Okay. I'm actually going to throw that down here um, in the live chat here. Okay. According to medical research, if you get a new headache within 7 to 10 days of your head injury or after your conscience again from the trauma, you may have a condition known as a post traumatic headache. Okay. Very important to know that. So, some other headache types are sinus, tension, migraine, and again, clusters. So, sinus headaches, tension, migraines, and clusters. Okay. I want to get here on the disability benefits questionnaire for migraines, the term prostrating. Okay. The term prostrating will make or break your VA claim for migraines in your percentage. Okay. So, what is a prostrating migraine headache? It's it's the single most important term that can literally make or break your VA rating for your migraines is the word prostrating. Okay. The reason it's so important is because the 30% and the 50% VA ratings for migraines contain the word prostrating, basically in reference to both the frequency and severity of your condition. And let me give you a gold nugget here. This is why it's important to have a headache log, right? You need to download Migraine Buddy or a migraine log, and you need to be letting the VA know the frequency and severity of your migraine headaches, if indeed that's an issue. Okay. Um, Something I'd like to point out that's interesting, veterans, is that neither VA regulations nor the courts have attempted to define the term prostrating. Very interesting. By way of reference, according to Merriam-Webster's Collegiate Dictionary, okay, prostration is defined as complete physical or mental exhaustion. Okay, a very similar definition is also found in Dorland's Illustrated Medical Dictionary, in which prostration is defined as extreme exhaustion or powerlessness. The best definition, I believe, comes from dictionary.com: to lay oneself flat on the ground face downward, especially in reverence or submission. So it's basically prostrating is further defined as fatigue, distress, exhaustion, weakness, illness, or functional loss. So frequency, severity, duration, those headache logs are important. How are you being impacted, veterans, by your headaches, occupationally and socially? The VA needs to know that. If you're not complaining or getting treatment, right, then how does the VA know frequency, severity, duration? How do they know any kind of weakness, fatigue, distress, exhaustion, illness, or functional loss that you may be going through as well too? Okay. Your statement in support of claim, meaning your personal statement, is huge. You need to have a statement in support of claim. It is absolutely very helpful documentation to strengthen your claim, veterans. A well done statement in support of claim can help to complete what is known as a fully developed claim, which is a well supported, complete presentation of your case that has a higher likelihood of winning and tends to be approved faster, veterans. Okay. So if you do need help with that, reach out to us. We can help you. A lot of times veterans need to secondary this. Again, if it's an actual condition, if it's actually you have complaints in your medical records, right? And if you do need a nexus or a DBQ, reach out 904-605-0431. Hit us up, info@veteransclaimservice.com. It won't hurt to take a look at whatever you got going on, right? For a statement in support of claim, you can write it on a document. I recommend to use the VA 21-4138, which you can download off of, you can Google it, download it, and fill it out. Okay. The VA form 21-4138, which is statement in support of claim form, right? Very important to take advantage of that 21-4138 to provide key supporting evidence, veterans, for most claims. and definitely for migraine claims. Okay. Buddy letters are good from firsthand witnesses for these and other claims. Um, but also sometimes buddy letters can kind of cloud up things. They can kind of muddy the waters, if you will, and hurt more than help. Okay. So just be honest. Make sure your treatment lines up with the evidence being presented. I highly recommend um, personal statement, migraine log. Make sure your treatment's aligning. Make sure you're getting some sort of medication if you need it. Um, Make sure all the evidence lines up. Okay. Don't just think because you get a nexus letter written that it's just going to work. Okay. Before you get a nexus letter or a DBQ for your headaches, make sure that everything lines up before going and spending some money. Okay. So I do recommend, if you need it's not going to make or break if you need to skip the buddy letter. A well-crafted statement in support of claim is very, very, very important. Okay. So just want you to know that. There are keyword combinations you need to make sure that you use, which I'm going to get into a video this week about how to write a awesome statement in support of claim. Right. I'm going to give you a few step process that you can follow. That will be good for you. But make sure that your personal statement is good, and make sure that your CMP exam goes very well. Those are very key, pivotal moments in your migraine claim. Okay. Um, Assuming you really do have severe symptoms, your wording in your personal statement verbally to your doctor and at a compensation and pension exam, right, are very, very, very important, right? So you need to let them know frequency, severity, duration. And again, you need to know what's in your evidence. Hey, sir, ma'am, I have provided all the evidence. I submitted a fully developed claim. I submitted my headache log, my migraine log. I'm on sumatriptan. I am getting headaches, as you could see, 2 to 4 times a week on an average basis. I'm having to miss work 1 to 2 times a month. As you can see, I left work here. Did you get that letter from my boss? And did you see my personal statement as well too? But you want to let them know that your headaches or your migraines are so severe that when you get an attack, which happens again 3 to 4 times a week, I end up having to lie down in a dark room for hours until they stop, right? This is because I'm impacted by light, right? This has affected my work life and social functioning. In fact, I'm now actually unemployed because I couldn't perform the functions of my job due to the severity and frequency of my headaches, right? Then let them know your migraines or your headaches cause radiating pain, and where they do left side, right side, down your neck, all the way through both sides of your head. Be specific. When I'm having a migraine, I end up taking sick leave from work, or again, like I told you, I got unemployed. I'm not working anymore because I must lie down by myself in a quiet room, and I became a liability rather than an asset to my job. You want to let them know frequency, severity, duration. Make sure it lines up with your records. Make sure you come with all the ammo to the firefight. If you do need help, reach out to us. We are a safe place to be able to come, honest, integral, ethical. We just want to make sure that you're not getting screwed over, right? We see too many veterans getting nexus letters. They come after the fact, getting it whipped up. Nothing was in the evidence. They didn't have a right game plan or a strategy plan. And then now they've got a not now they've got Mount Everest to climb. So it's very, very, very important. The VA ratings are 0, 10, 30, 50, 50 being as high as it can go. Obviously, 0 is with less frequent attacks. 50% is very frequent, completely keyword prostrating and prolonged attacks, which absolutely impact and have severe economic inadaptability, which is a checkbox on that disability benefits questionnaire. To get that 50% VA disability, right, going from 30 to 50, it's very, very important to have, and for if it's your nexus letter or DBQ to clearly state that there is economic inadaptability, okay? And that based on the totality of the evidence, which includes maybe your personal statement and resolving all reasonable doubt in your favor, veterans, that you should get an increase, okay? But again, how are you impacted? Very, very important to talk about that. And is there severe economic inadaptability, okay? As well too, medical evidence is very important to make sure that it lines up with what you're submitting. So I want you to know that as well. So tip number one, understand how the VA rates migraines 0, 10, 30, and 50. Number two, keep a detailed migraine log. Keep a migraine diary. Write down when the migraine starts and ends, symptoms you experience, triggers, any medications you take, how it affects your ability to function, like missing work or having to lay in a dark room. This log becomes powerful supporting evidence for your claim when you attend a CMP exam. You'll have a real, credible data to back up your statements. Download Migraine Buddy on the app store. Start keeping a detailed migraine log. That's number two. Number three, get a strong nexus letter and medical evidence if you've been denied or you need to do it secondary. If you do need a strong nexus letter or a DBQ, again, reach out, look in the description of this video. It's there. Okay. Use lay statements to strengthen your case, right? Your personal statement is very, very important. Sometimes the best evidence comes from you and those around you, not just doctors, maybe your spouse or partner, coworker, supervisors, friends, you, right? They can actually let you know how your migraines impact your daily life. Your statements are very, very important. And number five, do not settle. Appeal if you're underrated. Okay, a lot of migraine claims are underrated the first time. Maybe the CMP examiner downplayed your symptoms, or maybe they didn't review your file properly. If that happens, don't give up. You have options. File a higher level review, HLR, if you believe the VA made a clear error. File a supplemental claim if you've got new and relevant evidence, or appeal directly to the Board of Veterans Appeals. That's my last option. I always say that if you want a judge to take a second look. Persistence pays off, veterans. Many veterans win higher ratings on appeals, especially when you come prepared. Okay. If you feel overwhelmed, reach out, right? You don't have to do it alone. Reach out to a VSO, reach out to an accredited VA claims agent, right? Make sure you get with a good advocate that knows the system inside and out and can help you organize your evidence and frame your claim the right way. It's super, super important, okay? If you're already service connected for migraines at 0% or higher, make sure that you do a simple increase on a DBQ report. Sometimes the VA rater or the VA will accept a migraine DBQ on its own and grant the rating increase without CMP exams. That is mostly when the evidence lines up with the DBQ. Okay. And the most important section of the DBQ, if you're doing an increase, is the prostrating attacks of the headache pain. If your migraines are so severe, it's in block 4 alpha of the DBQ. If your migraines are so severe that you often need to lie down in a dark room for hours, which indicates prostrating attacks, make sure you tell your doctor about it and ensure the DBQ is completed correctly. Very, very important. Okay. And another tip I'm going to leave you with is for migraines, you need to be documenting, again, the frequency and severity of your migraines over the past several months so that you have additional evidence. Okay. So that's what I've got for you tonight. Those are 5 tips, again, to increase your migraine headaches if you need help with that. All right. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your service. And I thank you for your service to our country. I hope that this helps you out. You are cared about. Thank you for your service. These are 5 tips that work to increase your VA rating for migraines. Until next time, I'm out with many more videos to come. Peace.